I want to welcome everybody to the music class. We're still on the topic intervals. We started it last week and some of you complained that you didn't get it very well. Now we are still looking at how to determine intervals. That's our focus for today. So please, I want you to follow this video, with keen attention. Now we've been able to interval. We said intervals happen to be the distance or difference between two pitches in music. And then we said interval exists in two forms. We have the melodic interval. This is also referred to as the horizontal or linear interval. And then we have the harmonic interval, which is also called the vertical interval. Now, from the diagram you are seeing, you can see this one, the E to A, the way it is written. When you see these things written like this, it shows this is melodic interval or linear interval or horizontal interval. When it is written like this, it is melodic, but when it is written like this, it is harmonic. Meaning they are going to be sounded together, but this one will be sounded simultaneously. So this is how to get the harmonic intervals, and then the melodic intervals, and then the harmonic intervals. Now let's go to how to determine intervals. How to determine intervals is that there are two methods to determine this. The types of interval we have, and the quantity or numerical method, and then we have the quality method. But we are going to just focus on the quantity and the numerical method today. So let's check out how do we do the quantity method of interval. Now, numerically, an interval involves two notes, the lower and the upper notes. The interval between these two notes is the number of letter names, both lines and spaces, involved from the note that is lower to the upper note on the staff. Now this may be a bit clumsy for a lot of persons, but now let's see how we determine this. Now this is the staff. Now let's assume that we have a note written on this line of the staff, and then another note is written on the same line. When you have two notes written on the same line or on the same space, as the case may be, then you say this is called unison. Some people have always said it is first interval. No, it's not first. There is nothing like first like that. You can call it unison because these notes are going to be on the same line. You are going to be on the same pitch, lines or spaces. Each line or space on this staff is regarded to as pitch. I believe you understand that. Now let's look at another one. Now look at it. What if we have the first note on a line and then we have the second note on somewhere like this? How do you determine this interval? From what we saw, we said it's going to be, you are going to look at the numerical method. You make use of the number of lines and spaces. That means letter names involved. For example, look at this. We have one on line, another one on space. So the lower note is like the first one, that is on the line, number one, and then this is number two. So the letter names involved are just two, the one on the line and the one on the space, nothing in between them. From the line you move to the next space, so just those two are the ones involved. So what kind of interval do you have here? You have a second interval. Now to get more explanation, let's get another one. Look at this. We're creating a middle C. And then we put a note on middle C, and then we just throw another note somewhere on the staff. Now we need to know how many letter names are involved in these two notes. Now we have the first one, we have the second one, which is the space, then we have the third, then we have the fourth, then we have the fifth, and then the sixth. So we can say that between these two notes we have 1 line, 2 the space, 3 the line, 4 the space, 5 the line, and then 6 the space. So that means we have from the lower note and the upper note, we have 6 letter names involved. So what do you call it? This is called the sixth interval. The sixth interval. You know, it's quite simple. It's quite simple for those of you who were not getting it very well that time. I believe this has explained better. Now let's do something, you know. Let's consider the interval between the notes, between a major scale of C. Now, how do we get a major scale of C on the staff? Let's start from the middle C. Let's make middle C our lower C. So we're going to have a note which is on C, another note there, another note. So it's like singing our tonic solfa, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Good. I believe some of you are laughing already because you're familiar with this. Now, these are the notes that form the scale of C from the middle C up to this other C. So this is how to go: the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then the upper C. So how do we determine them? As you know, how do we get the interval? So what we're looking at is the interval between the notes. C to D was the interval, C to E was the interval, C to F was the interval. Let's move on to that. Now let's assume that we have a line and then we have a note C and another note C. You know, we know that one, both of them are on the same line, so this is unison. Good. Now let's believe we have another note C, middle C, and then we have another one on the space D. This will give us the second. Then this one, we have another one on C, then another one on line E, another one on line E. The interval will be, there are 3 letter names involved: 1, 2, and 3. From C to E, that will be C, D, and E. So this is a third. Now you discover that in numbering the intervals we use positional numbering. What is positional numbering? We don't say interval is 1, 2, 3, but we can say it is first or second or third, and so on and so forth. Okay, sorry, I said first. There is no first there. Instead of saying first, you say unison. So it could be unison, the second, the third. Let's look at another one from middle C and then to a space of F. To a space of F. So the interval is fourth. We have another one from middle C to the line G, and then the interval is fifth. You can always confirm this to count the number of, you know, letter names involved from the lower to the upper one. This, and this, making 5 letter names. So it is fifth interval. Then we have this also, which is from the middle C to space A, and there's a 6th interval. Then from the middle C again, from the middle C again to line B, that will be 7th interval. Then from the middle C then to space C, that is an octave. So this is how the intervals are formed. This is using the simple method called the quantitative method. All you just need is the number of letter names that are involved from the lower to the upper one. I believe some of you have gotten more knowledge about this, and I believe going forward is going to help us to understand interval better. We're still going to look at how to determine interval using the qualitative. That qualitative involves the number of semitones, and for us to get the best of that, you need a keyboard. So if you don't have your own keyboard, create one just to help you determine the intervals using the qualitative